What's up, YouTube world? Back at it once again, Nightmare Comics 1. And I know it's been a while, it's been like a couple weeks now, but since I've hit y'all with a video, figure, I should now because I was told to by numerous people. So, yeah, this video is my top 10 creators that weren't in the DC, relaunch or whatnot. Now, I know what you're thinking. You have no way of knowing if DC contacted these people and they just turned them down. I do know they contacted one of these people on this list and he turned them down. I know that because I get to that when I get to him. But it's just who I would have wanted to see included in the relaunch. You know what I mean? And I was being realistic. I ain't say crazy shit like Alan Moore or Neil Gaiman or something like that. Yeah, I was being realistic, you know what I mean? Except with maybe one person, but for the most part, realistic, you know what I mean? Like somebody within the confines of DC being able to actually get the right, some of these books. But not even writing the books. I got a couple artists on here too. But I ain't gonna hold you up. Let me just jump right in the list. My number 10 is Greg Rucka. I know what y'all thinking. But him and DC split up, and it was everywhere on the internet and things like that. Well, I feel like this, okay? Greg Rucka is one of my favorite dudes to ever write Wonder Woman. I ain't even the biggest fan of the character, but I read his run, and I read when he was on Detective Comics writing Batwoman, and I figured, for the most part, DC would want to get the biggest names they could, and not just that, creators that are familiar with the things they're writing. You know what I mean? Now, call me crazy, but Greg Rucka is a name, and he's familiar with Batwoman, and familiar with Wonder Woman. I would have thought they would have got him to do, one of those, but they didn't. I'm not necessarily complaining with the creators they got. That's another thing. See, I did a long video with True Slayer about this relaunch, and my biggest, he had, numerous issues with it. So do I, but my biggest issue is that it's not the creators they have, because I think, for the most part, they have talented people on these books. Problem is, I just think the wrong people are writing and drawing the wrong stuff. That's just what I think. You have guys that you wouldn't necessarily envision, with certain characters, writing certain characters. You have other guys that should be writing characters and writing stories that are involved in the relaunch that are on other books that, they really shouldn't be on. Like Tony Daniel's been given Detective Comics. Come on. Tony Daniel, I don't hate the guy, but, at the same time, he's an artist. You know what I'm saying? He's been writing Batman lately, but, he's an artist. That's what he came into business as, is what he's known for, his art. And you would think with all the writers that they left out of the relaunch, they would have tried to at least get one of them. Now, I don't know if they did or not. As I said, this is purely speculation. I don't know who turned down what or whatever, but I think they would have been able to get someone better than Tony Daniel to write that book. I'm just saying. But anyway, like I said, number 10 was Greg Rucka. Number 9, Mark Waid. Now, this is highly possible because Waid is pretty much freelance. You know what I mean? And money talks. He's gonna go there. You know what I'm saying? So I would have thought they would have been able to get him to at least write something in this relaunch. It could be like anything, preferably the Flash, but it could have been anything, I would at least thought, as great of a writer as he is, with the reputation that he has, especially, with longtime DC fans, Kingdom Come, anyone, you would think that, they would be able to get him to write something, so that's just what I think. What do I know, though? My number 8 is Warren Ellis. Now, this is the fanboy in me talking, but as I said, this is possible. He's an amazing writer. Straight up, he's wrote some of my favorite stories ever. Iron Man Extremist comes to mind immediately. I just got, not too long ago, I just read his indie story, Super Guys. Very, very enjoyable book. Definitely recommend that. But he's an amazing writer, y'all. Amazing writer. And, it's just the fanboy in me, like I said. But wouldn't it have been cool to see him write one of those new Wildstorm books? Not even like a Wildstorm book, just one of those weird books they're doing. Wouldn't it have been cool to see him on Justice League Dark? Just let that simmer in your brain for a second. Next we got Alex Ross. As I said, kind of fanboyish, but like I said, highly possible. You know what I mean? Like he, I would, I would have thought they would have gave him threw money at him. You know what I mean? Just not even for that long, just for like maybe 6-7 issues to like draw Justice League or something. That would have been cool. Something like that. But didn't get that. It's all good though. It's all good. That's what I at least would have thought. Okay, number 6 is Brian Q. Miller. Now this is a little weird because I hear a lot of people say this that read the book, but a lot of people that I know that read Batgirl at the time before this relaunch, when they first relaunched it with Stephanie Brown, who was the character I did not like very much. But I'm just going off hearsay right now. See, this is who I think should have been included. See, should have been included. That's why I wouldn't even say I'm not a fan of the dude. I just haven't read much of his stuff. But anyway, let me get into it. Brian Q. Miller. A lot of people I know that read Batgirl, they always say of all the superhero books at DC Comics, Batgirl is far and away the best. I heard a lot of people say that. You know what I mean? I read a little bit of it. I really liked what I read. It's just other stuff took precedence because I don't like Stephanie Brown. Well, I didn't. Maybe I'll go back and read it now. After it's over because it's over now. She's not Batgirl anymore, which I'll get to in a second. But I like what I read though, and everyone said that he took a character that not many people like, and he made her very likable, and very like you felt for her, you know what I mean, because the whole series was about her living up to the legacy of the Bat, you know what I mean, and they said that it was a very fun book and things like that. Now you would think that they would have kept that character as Batgirl, you know what I mean, because the reason why I say this is because the Batgirl they're using now, which is Barbara Gordon, probably the most famous Batgirl, which is probably why they're using it, but which is Barbara Gordon, was, and I think every single fan will agree with this, was a lot more interesting as Oracle. Like simple as that. You have a character, who used to be a superhero, who couldn't be a superhero anymore because tragedy struck her in the form of Joker's bullet, and she couldn't walk anymore. But you have this character who's still tough as nails, who still can defend herself and things like that, but who also was devoted enough to set aside her nights to be pretty much the Bat family's eyes, was pretty much the eyes of the DC universe. You know what I mean? Like every superhero hits her up for information and things like that. It was like such an interesting dynamic, and also it added a lot to Batman because if you think about it, Batman kind of looked at that as a failure. Him not being able to save Barbara from being crippled. You know what I mean? Just like Jason Todd, getting killed by the Joker, he looked at that like kind of like a failure too, and they bought him back too. That was stupid. That's dumb. Whatever, whatever. I can't think of everything I want to say right now. I can't really articulate what I think though. But I feel like they should have kept things the same with Batgirl, and they should have kept Brian Q. Miller writing Batgirl because everyone liked that book. As I said, didn't read it much, but everyone liked that book. And if it ain't broke, there's no need to fix it. That's just how I feel. Anyway, moving on. We got Dustin Nguyen, great artist. He's number 5. Dustin Nguyen is a great artist. His Batman, if you read Streets of Gotham when he was drawing it, his art is like pretty dark and like exactly the exact tone you would expect Batman to have. I would think he'd be on one of these Bat books. Maybe not, Batman, but like maybe like Nightwing or Batwing since they're doing it, or they shouldn't be doing that book, but whatever. Something like that. You would think that he'd be on at least one of them. Whatever. All right, next is the little fanboy in me again, Chuck Dixon. Now I don't know how possible this is because I don't know what type of terms he was on with DC when he left and all that jazz, but that would be cool though. Would it not be cool him on Detective Comics? Would that not be cool? That'd be. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave you with that gem. I'm not even gonna go into it. Nightfall, Chuck Dixon. You know, him on Detective Comics. Just saying. Just saying. That would have been cool. Yeah. Next we have James Robinson. I tell you what, lately I've not been a fan of everything he's written. You know, I'm actually one of those people that like the new Krypton stuff for the most part, but some of the stuff was like, you know, World of New Krypton. I know all y'all gonna think I'm weird for that, but I actually really like that series. So you know, he's not horrible. I just think that, you know, he's like, especially Justice League, you know, it's just like it's just his stuff is just lately. I don't know. Maybe it's just a bad fit. I don't know. But I can tell you one thing: his JSA was great when he first when he got on JSA, you know, during the early stages or whatever, and even like, you know, just the different stuff he's written, you know, throughout, you know, his time writing the JSA, it's been great. You know what I mean? And in my opinion, they're relaunching everything, but where the hell is the JSA? You know what I mean? And they should be involved with the relaunch. And I feel that mainly this is a JSA pick, you know what I'm saying? Because they should be involved with the relaunch. And James Robinson probably should be the guy that writes them. But, you know, whatever. That, to me, that's dumb. Okay, my top two. Here's the thing. My number two could actually be my number one. You know? And my number one, he kind of cleared it up, but he's still my number one. But my number two is Paul Dini. Arkham City's coming out. He wrote that game, okay? Arkham Asylum, he also wrote. He wrote Batman the Animated Series, okay? What I'm getting at, well, he didn't write it, but he wrote a lot of the episodes. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, they had different writers for each episode, but he wrote a lot of them, okay? Majority of them, I think. Now, wouldn't it make sense if Paul Dini was on at least one Bat book? At least one Bat book. It doesn't have to be Batman, Batman and Robin, Detective Comics, whatever. You know, but I think it's a crying shame that Judd Winnick has two Bat books and Paul Dini doesn't have one. Now, when I was reading the list, I was like, oh, Catwoman's getting her own series or whatever. That's cool, you know. Let me see who's writing it. And I saw Judd Winnick, and I nearly fell on the floor. Like, you know, wouldn't it make more sense, you know, if Paul Dini wrote Catwoman along with Gillian March? Because these two have worked together before. You know, Gotham City Sirens. You know, he wrote a lot of that series. You know, Gillian March, most of the art. Wouldn't that make sense? But I just feel like DC dropped the ball with that. Like, he should be involved somewhere with his relaunch, just somewhere. Maybe not even Batman, just something else. Just he should be in his relaunch somewhere. Whatever. Moving on to my number one. I don't even want to talk that much about Paul Dini. It pissed me off. But my number one. Now, this man cleared it up why he's not doing this. Why he's not a part of the relaunch. But anyway, yeah. My number one is Kurt Busiek. Now, I've never done this video, but if I did, my top 5 Superman stories, you know, Secret Identity, which is not necessarily a Superman story. It's like an Elseworld story, but it's a Superman story at the same time. You got to read the book. I won't spoil anything about the book. I won't even spoil the plot. You just got to read the book. He wrote that. And to me, that's far and away, yeah, I'm going to say it, far and away, the greatest Superman story ever told. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, he understands what the Man of Steel should be. You know what I'm saying? Now, he writes them in a way, like, you know, that's iconic with the character. You think, you know, people's vision of Superman, you know, who love him or hate him, is the center of the DC universe. His vision of Superman is what most people envision Superman to be. However, Busiek has a way of writing Superman to be interesting, to be also relatable at the same time. Well, not necessarily relatable, but like, you know, you don't think everything's so easy for him, you know what I mean, like most people do. Because Busiek writes him in a way where, you know, he doesn't look weak, but, you know, he also has, you know, trials and tribulations, things he has to go through. Not just as Superman, but also as Clark Kent. You know, so you would think, and he's a name, he's a huge name. You would think, at least in the comic book community, that he would be on Superman, right? But he cleared this up for me. He said that his schedule is heavy. And he sent me a message on Twitter, by the way, which made my day. That was amazing. But He sent me a message on Twitter saying that he's pretty much booked right now. He wouldn't possibly be able to take on Superman right now. So whatever. And I'm not complaining about George Perez. I love the dude. I do think Superman would be really good. He's a great creator, great artist. Great writer. It should still be good. So looking forward to it either way. But I would have really loved to see Kurt Busiek on that book. Anyway, those are my 10. Y'all leave y'all comments or whatever. Whatever you want to talk about. But yeah, I hit y'all up later. I don't know what video yet. Y'all leave me some ideas, cause yeah. Well, I do know what I'm gonna do, but I'll do it. I'll do it soon. Not soon. I gotta finish reading it, but I gotta finish rereading it. But I'll holler at y'all later. Peace out.